Hello from your Grasslands PR team. This is The Best Biome. I'm Alan.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Nicole. Is that our intro?
Nailed it.
Tell us about these overlooked and underappreciated grasslands, Nicole. What are we talking about today?
Whoa. Today...
We could do the actual intro if you want.
No, that's great.
It's
We nailed it.
All right, let's roll with it.
Okay. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about meerkats.
Oh,
Meerkats.
Yeah.
All right.
They're very cute and they're very fun. They live in shortgrass, savanna, and open plains ecosystems in the southern parts of Africa, which I don't know. For some reason, I definitely thought they were in like the middle and north part of Africa, but no, they're definitely only in the southern part of Africa. So that was something that I learned
Okay.
very quickly into this research. Also, this was suggested by one of our listeners.
I was going to say, I think this is a request.
Yes. So Tasha actually requested this, and I could not resist. I love meerkats. They're very fun, but I also knew that I didn't really know that much about them, so that it would be fun to research. So I claimed dibs very quickly on these.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're basically just carnivorous prairie dogs in a different continent. So
Yeah.
What's not to like?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we joke all the time that they are, in fact, like the prairie dogs of Africa, or that prairie dogs are the meerkats of the US. And they do have a lot in common, I will admit, but there's a lot different too. So
yeah, like the drama. I've seen Meerkat Manor.
yeah. Did you know that came out in 2005?
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's been a while.
Yeah.
Yep.
I looked that up too because I was curious when it came out, and I was
Wow.
like, that's longer than I thought it was.
You know what? Let's not think about that. Let's think about meerkats. Okay. Wait, which one did evolve first? Are prairie dogs the meerkat of North America?
Well, they're completely different. Like, they fill similar ecological niches, but one's a rodent and one is not a weasel. What's the other one?
A mongoose?
Yeah, there we go.
Mongoose. They're in, damn, I don't remember what family
They're all
in.
mammals.
They're all mammals.
They are. That's true.
They
But
got fur and funny little hands.
I think the
Yeah.
question still remains, which came first?
I'm not sure. That is actually something that I meant to look up and I forgot because I got really distracted by some other stuff that we'll get to. But yeah, I'm not sure. I want to say that I think prairie dogs are older, but I don't know why I think that.
Because
Maybe
they're squirrels? Are squirrels older?
I have no idea. Good question.
No one knows.
Yeah.
Look it up, dear listener.
I mean, we
Do
can
your
look it
own
up real
research.
quick.
But okay, I'm glad to hear you say that you have things that majorly distracted you, because I've noticed when you do an episode and get distracted and pulled into the gravity of a rabbit hole, that it usually tends to be something very wild and fascinating. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say about meerkats.
If it came from the San Diego Zoo website or the Department of Conservation in Missouri,
Yeah.
we might.
It did not. It came from scientific articles. So sometimes when I'm researching these, this is how I found this. I just like go onto a random database and just like search meerkats and just see what pops up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay.
And so yeah, that's how I found most of this stuff.
No other keyword, just meerkats.
Meerkat. And I look at all thousands of them. I literally look at page after page, and I think it's fun.
I do that
I
too.
guess.
I'm not gonna
Wow.
lie. It's
just
really
casting
fun.
a wide net. That's
Yeah.
fine. That's one way to do it.
Yeah. And then once I find something that's interesting, I'll either look at, cited sources of that paper, or I'll
Sure.
take some keywords from it and like narrow down my search. But yeah, you cast a wide net at first.
Dang, you know how to research.
Yeah.
That's good.
And it's not San Diego Zoo website.
Yeah.
I was trying to decide if I wanted to call them out again. But
No, we love
Why
it.
not?
We put up a thing for them. We love the San Diego Zoo.
Yeah.
Great institution.
there's a little prairie dog back behind Rachel over there. And there's somewhere over here a little rhino.
Yeah.
Sorry, listeners, you can't see them, but it's
But
just
they're there.
it's cute stuff that my
Yeah.
friend sent me. So
Were it not for the San Diego Zoo, we wouldn't have condors. So,
this is true.
you know,
They've
They
done
get-
good work.
They
Good
get
on
a
you.
pass
Yeah.
for bad info.
everybody
Dubious
gets, yeah.
info. We don't know
Yes.
if it's bad.
We all get a couple free, not possibly true facts that we can say in public.
Yeah. You can't be perfect all the time.
You can't be. You can't be. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just thinking very hard about if I want to burn up one of mine.
Oh, please.
Like, should we just make up something real quick?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
No. Oh, dang it. That's irresponsible.
Okay. I mean, you're saying that you're making it up, so does that make it responsible?
Prairie dogs
Does that even count as a
were
free
the
pass?
first mammal.
Whoa.
All right.
That is an amazing fact.
Let's go on to the Okay. I feel like we're already starting to derail Nicole here. So
That's
Nicole,
okay.
It happens every
It
time.
was fun. It was fun. So, yeah, I want to talk. I'm not just saying this because I like prairie dogs, but I want to talk about how they're similar and how they're different from prairie dogs
Oh my god.
because of how often we compare them. And I feel like for our North American listeners, like people know prairie dogs pretty well, but they might not know meerkats very well. So it gives people a reference point. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Felt like I had to defend my choices.
What if our listener has no idea what a prairie dog is?
Well, then they need to listen to the first episode that we ever recorded and learn.
Wow.
And then they'll be caught up. Yeah, it was the first
Okay.
episode. Yeah.
Listener, if you've never heard of a prairie dog, hit pause and scroll down to S2E17
Yes.
and get back to us.
Yes.
Okay.
Continue.
Continue.
Welcome back. I'm glad that you learned all about prairie dogs. So they, like I said, they fill very similar ecological niches. They spend a lot of time underground in burrows that they make themselves. They're very good diggers, and they're active during the day. Something else that they have in common with prairie dogs is that their burrows are used by a lot of other animals. So I couldn't find like an exact number. Like with prairie dogs, it's estimated that 200 plus animals use their burrows. I didn't find a list of 200 animals like you can with prairie dogs, but some of the animals that share meerkat burrows are going to be other species of mongoose, ground squirrels, rock hyraxes, mice, and high-veld gerbils.
Aw.
Gerbils.
Yeah. And they're not just using like the old burrows, they're using like active meerkat burrows, and they just live right alongside each other and everything's groovy. So it's pretty cool.
Wild, because I think, unlike prairie dogs, meerkats would definitely eat
them?
other animals. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if there's also like other kinds of mongoose in
Yeah.
there. Like that seems a lot more dangerous for the species cohabitating in that burrow.
I'm sure
Yeah.
that it's like maybe it's more of in an emergency, like there's a hawk overhead. Okay, let's all go underground together kind of situation. Probably.
Okay.
I would imagine. But it was a little unclear in my research. So who knows?
Interesting.
I choose to believe that they're just big old multi-species families under there because it's really cute. Even though they definitely eat mice and gerbils.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But, you know.
Yeah.
Meerkats, the capybara of shortgrass savannas in Africa.
There you go. There's your dubious fact. You did it.
You got two of them. Good job. Good job.
All right.
And just like prairie dogs, their burrows are fairly complex. They're a lot bigger than prairie dog burrows, like width-wise. They can be like 5 meters wide, which is insane. But usually they're much smaller.
That's
Meters?
huge. Yeah.
It's huge, 5 meters. Yeah.
God.
Usually they're closer to like a meter, like when you, especially if you get down to like the underground little
A
like,
15-foot burrow?
Yeah.
That's like larger than a purple worm burrow. What the hell?
That is not a real creature. We should point out that is a D&D monster. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What?
Don't worry.
so big.
Don't worry, listener.
There are not 15-foot wide worms yet.
Allegedly.
Yeah, that we know of. Who knows? Who really knows?
Okay. Okay. We're real fact-based today. I love it. Okay.
Something else that is different about their burrows is that they will use like multiple sets of burrows. Like they have a fairly large home range, and as they move around through this home range, they'll use like one kind of on the edge, one towards the center. They'll use multiple different burrows. One family group will, and those family groups are called mobs,
No.
which is going to be relevant later.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not manners.
No,
Okay.
Okay.
I was sure. I was like,
Meerkat Mob sounds like a cooler show, kind of, but yeah.
yeah, it's not as cute and sellable though.
Right.
To most people, I would watch that.
Yeah, it sounds neat. Yeah. Like a bunch of mongooses like doing
Yeah.
crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like while 2005 Animal Planet probably couldn't have done that successfully, 2023 Animal Planet would do it in a heartbeat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reality TV landscape has shifted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Meerkat Mob coming this fall. All
Amazing.
We've got so many dubious facts in. I'm loving it.
Another really fascinating thing with meerkats is that they have a very complicated language system, just like prairie dogs do.
Oh.
So I didn't look too far into this because I didn't want to get too far down this rabbit hole because there was other rabbit holes calling my name. But they do have different calls alerting to predators, calling an emergency, or checking in on family as they kind of forage and wander around the landscape.
Okay.
And when watching a threat, their calls will change depending on how far away that threat is. So I couldn't find anything specifically, like with prairie dogs, they can say like hawk versus coyote. So I didn't see anything like mentioning calling different predators different names, but they did have different calls for like how close and how immediate that threat was. And then there was like the emergency bark that was like everyone underground right now.
Okay.
So
Sounds like we need to get Kon Slobodchikov to
Yes.
South Africa
I
to
agree.
get to the bottom of this.
Yes, absolutely.
Nicole's personal hero.
Yes. I mean, he's done some really cool work, okay?
Yeah.
But and I looked more into the foraging call because I found it really interesting. They are constantly just chattering back and forth with each other when they're foraging, and they kind of create these vocal hotspots where there's more meerkats. And it ends up working kind of like a voting system. So once they have most of the meerkats moving in a certain way, the rest of the meerkats will follow. And it's very, very fun. It's a really
That is
easy
fun.
way to keep everybody together and keep everybody coordinated and safe.
Aw.
Yeah.
Democratic, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Democratic murder.
Yes.
Like a mob. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
This fall on Animal Planet.
Yes.
Yes.
And there was this really fun paper where they looked at these vocal hotspots and they actually played like recordings at the front of the foraging group and at the back of the foraging group just to see what would happen. And the group ended up like moving away from each other, and they ended up forming two separate foraging groups surrounding these speakers because like the system got messed up.
The democracy was so strong.
Yes.
Split apart.
Yes. Yeah. So they formed completely two separate groups, even though that like never happens naturally, since there was these, probably fairly loud recordings. It just like totally messed them up. And I just thought that was really interesting.
It is, yeah.
They can also tell each other apart by their calls. So there was another study that I looked into where, because meerkats, I keep wanting to say prairie dogs. Meerkats.
Keep it together.
They have a matriarchal system. So it's the lead female that makes a lot of the decisions, and she is like the head honcho. She gets to eat first. She gets the most food. She will steal food from other meerkats, especially if she has pups that she's trying to feed. She is doing most of the breeding. So I think it's like 80% of the pups come from this lead female meerkat and her mate. And so whenever they would record her calls and play them back to the group, the meerkats would like look around and like get kind of nervous and start showing really submissive behavior. So they can tell each other apart by these calls, which is also really cool.
That's cool.
That's cool. Her mate singular?
Yeah, are they polyandrous? Or?
So for the most part, it's the dominant male and the dominant female that are producing pups. However, especially like dominant, is that the word? No.
Subdominant. Submissive.
What is the word?
That sounds like a word. That sounds
I mean,
Subordinates.
subordinate. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The subordinate males will kind of leave the group every once in a while and go on these little social outings and find females. So there are occasionally like subordinate females that will have pups, but it's quite rare. Like I said, 80% of the pups are coming from the two lead meerkats.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
You'd think that would have a negative consequence for the genetic diversity of the population?
So you will have, especially young males, because everyone is related in a meerkat mob. So the young males will occasionally leave and find like other lone females and start up a new colony or new mob. So
how does a meerkat become alone? Like a lone female out? Like, do they just leave because they're bored, or they get kicked out, or?
I'm not 100% sure. I imagine it's either a kicked out situation or there's just not enough food. So she leaves because if she's, bottom of the totem pole, especially the subordinate females, I believe are still above all of the males. But if there's not enough food to go around, then I could see, this dispersal happening. And also more fights happening, which might lead to that dispersal. Okay. So, yeah, but I'm not 100% sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And we kind of already touched on this, but something else that sets them apart from prairie dogs is their diet. Whereas prairie dogs eat almost entirely just green stuff, meerkats primarily eat insects, along with rodents, lizards, and pretty much any other small animal that they can catch. They eat so many insects that they are actually considered pest control for crops.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And the last little thing that sets them apart is just how feisty they are. Meerkats are extremely feisty. They love to pick fights, both in their own family and with other meerkats outside their family. And with predators, whenever they have a predator, like their first line of defense is running away, but they will hold their ground and chase off predators if they have to. They do a war dance. Very cute.
Like weasels.
Yes. They poof out their tail and poof out like all their fur in their body, and they'll like hop around and arch their back and just make a whole bunch of noise. And if they all do it together, then it can be fairly effective, both against predators and like non-family meerkats. So other groups of meerkats.
That makes sense. I mean, they are like mongooses, which are notoriously badass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very ferocious little creatures.
Yeah. For some reason, we think of, at least in my experience, people think of meerkats as being like cute and cuddly, but like they're not.
Right.
They're not.
So instead of greeting one another with an open mouth kiss like a prairie dog, they will
Full tongue.
Like
Not
more the teeth and claws.
Yeah. More teeth and claws. Yeah.
Okay.
Even the family. Like they wrestle all the time, and like it's rough. Like there's like fur flying. Like it's crazy. But they're just playing.
Yeah.
Do they greet each other with bared teeth and
They
claws?
do a lot of hugging, which is also really cute.
Well, I'm getting a mixed message.
I know. I'm sorry.
Even the hugs are preparing for war, though.
Yes. That hug could turn to like a suplex maneuver at any time.
Yeah, anytime.
Wait, is there a video of this?
As with any hug.
Yes. Be warned.
Yeah. Okay. This makes sense to me. Is this our like fifth dubious fact?
That sounds true. I think that one's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's just a fact.
Will suplex each other anytime from a hug maneuver.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay.
I'm glad you believe me. But yeah, meerkats, it's not just like I said, it's not just predators. They are very aggressive with other meerkats to the point of being murderous. A 2016 study found them to have the highest rate of same species killing than any other mammal in the study. They looked at 1,000 different mammals, and they found that meerkats were the most murderous.
Wow, they really should be meerkat mob then. This is
And this is the rabbit hole that I started falling down. Because I was just like, why are they so murderous? But they found that 19.4% of all meerkat deaths were from other meerkats.
My gosh, that's a huge portion.
Yeah.
Okay, but like, what is it like? Are you more likely as a meerkat to get attacked by a stranger or like a meerkat that you know? Like,
I mean, it's primarily a meerkat that you don't know. It's going to be a stranger, but we'll get into some of the family murders
Never
too.
go against the family.
Yeah, never. You'll see. You'll see.
Okay. Sorry, I'm really invested in this now. This is really
I'm
cool.
really glad.
There's so much drama to this. Okay.
There's so much drama. Do you guys want to know the other top 10 most murderous mammals?
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Dolphins?
No.
Okay.
Baboons.
Surprise. There's a lot of primates
Yeah.
that are very, very
Yeah,
murderous.
probably chimps.
Ooh, are people
yeah.
in there?
People were found to be, I think, only like 2%. So this study was actually looking at the evolution of like human aggression. And so they found a lot of primates were super aggressive, which is not surprising. And then also like hyenas, rhinos, bears, ground squirrels, cats. Did I say that already? I don't think so. And tree shrews.
Tree shrews. Okay.
Tree shrews, very murderous. But the top 10, meerkat, number 1, Schmitz Guinan, which is a type of monkey, the red-fronted lemur, New Zealand sea lion, long-tailed marmot, lion, banded mongoose, gray wolf, chacma baboon, and finally the diatomid sifaka, maybe?
What?
Sifaka,
Yeah,
and
like,
long-tailed chinchilla,
like
tied for
Bumafu.
10th.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, Shafaka.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the long-tailed chinchilla tied for 10th with that guy.
Chinchillas?
So, chinchillas. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And they were tied for 10th at 12%. So it's not like, oh, we got down to like 3 or 4% really quickly. Like, no, these are still murdering a lot of their own species.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
It's interesting. There's more than one mongoose on there, too.
Yeah.
And then wolves being on there is
Yeah,
interesting to me.
yeah.
Wolves and lions, it's like, okay, that makes sense because we've seen documentaries about animals like that.
Yeah.
And the way that they will murder people, not people, maybe people, other members of their species and cubs and things like that.
Yeah,
But
especially infanticide
Yeah.
is,
Right.
I think, high in a lot of these.
That's that's the case. Yeah. Well, that's a very good point. Yeah. Infanticide. Yeah.
yeah.
Right. It's not adults killing adults necessarily.
Yeah.
It's not like interfamily conflicts.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
Scar eating Simba.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so lots of murderous animals out there. It's a really interesting, like it was interesting to look at how related a lot of the hyper aggressive animals were. Like there's like areas where there's like no aggression at all. And then like you go around to the chart and it's just like all red, all like just super murderous animals. And like, yeah, it was a really well laid out study that was very interesting. We'll have it linked in the description if you want to look into it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, it was when I learned that meerkats were the most murderous, I was like, that is wild.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had to look into it more. So I found another study that is called Intergroup Aggression in Meerkats. And they found that about 65% of the time when meerkat groups see each other out on the grassland, they choose to show an aggressive response. So they could just run away. Like they see each other from super far away, but they're like, nah, you're too close. Like get out of here.
They
and
choose violence.
Yeah, they
Yes.
choose violence.
65% of the time.
65% of the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Our species could not accommodate us choosing to react aggressively to 65% of the people we meet.
No, that would be not great.
That would be a breakdown of society.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever work retail.
Oh
That's a
gosh.
good point.
Yeah, no,
The retail
definitely not.
couldn't exist.
Yeah, yeah. And
Oh, God.
this aggressive response can be anywhere from like chasing and war dancing all the way up to physical contact. So it's not just like, oh, they immediately start tussling. It could just be chasing, and they counted that as an aggressive response. And this was a 10-year study. They took 422 different interactions between groups of meerkats and found that 86% of the aggressive interactions ended before physical contact was made. So even though they do most of the time show an aggressive response, most of those aggressive responses end before bloodshed. So
Okay.
They are murderous, but not that murderous.
How many of those 15% result in the death of one of the two parties?
So,
Oh no, you're too excited about that answer. Calm down.
Is it always to the death?
not always.
Okay.
So it is sometimes, a lot of the time.
I mean, yeah. 9% of these interactions, these aggressive interactions, ended in fighting, with at least one meerkat killed in 3% of those interactions.
Okay.
So, I mean, that 3% is not like a lot, but like if 3% of the time you saw someone, you ended up killing one of their family members, like that's intense.
Yeah, that's intense, Nicole. If 1 out of every 33 people you met you killed, that's intense. God, okay. I love this episode already.
I'm so glad.
Great.
I'm so
Okay.
glad. I knew that you would like it.
No.
But yeah, so and those that are killed are usually pups. So it's usually infanticide that's
Ooh.
happening.
So they're like, not only are you killing one of their family members, but you're killing one of their kids.
child. Yeah.
Their
Yeah.
firstborn. Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't like you. give me your child. I'm feeling murderous today.
Yeah. And then they also broke it down by like who was engaging in these aggressive behaviors. So like, was it males? Was it females? 48% of the time, the aggressive interactions were initiated by the dominant male. 15% of the time by the dominant female, 24% by the dominant or the subordinate male, a subordinate male, and 12% by a subordinate female. So 72% of the time, it was a male that was like, "No, we gotta go fight them. Like, we gotta."
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a good thing they're a matriarchal society then.
Right? Yeah.
Because if the
Maybe there's a reason for that.
the dominant female's not constantly getting killed in
Yeah.
petty fights.
Yeah, but she has an entourage who's willing to do anything it takes.
There you
Yes.
go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
It's beautiful.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I tried to look into like why are they so aggressive? Why all the posturing? Why all the fighting? And a lot of it comes down to territory. So where they live, it's a very harsh environment, very low rainfall, not a whole lot of food to go around. And you're trying to feed, a group of 20 meerkats. So it's a lot of mouths to feed. And they did find that losing groups will retreat further back into their home range, and the winning groups will expand their territory whenever they win a fight. So it's very much over territory, over especially like good grazing ground, well, not grazing grounds, but good places to find food. And it was also found that that groups with pups were way more likely to stand their ground or even fight than groups without pups. So they have mouths, extra mouths to feed, or they're just feeling defensive and they want to keep their baby safe. And so they are more willing to, go into that interaction.
So meerkat violence makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're not this aggressive towards other species? Because if there's 200 species that are, also utilizing these burrows, do they share the same aggression towards that uniformly, or is there a special aggression towards other meerkats?
Yeah, do 3% of all mice they meet also have like a bloody end?
I mean, probably more than 3% when it comes to mice, just because they're a tasty snack.
Yeah.
But I did see a lot of videos of like ground squirrels within 5 feet of meerkats, like just playing, and the meerkats are playing and they're just completely ignoring each other. So I don't know if it has to do with they're eating different kinds of food, so they're not like direct competition. There is a lot of benefit to, if you're hanging out with ground squirrels, they're also helping you look for predators and things like that. So there is a little bit of benefit to hanging out with
Sure.
non-meerkats.
A little, mutualistic thing going on
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't
But you
know
have
for
no
sure.
data. So they
I have no
could be
data.
killing 3% of all of their guests.
They could.
House guests.
Yeah.
That's true.
I wouldn't be surprised.
All right.
Especially if it was, an animal that they were competing for food with. Yes.
So I never really watched Meerkat Manor.
Oh.
it's not. Was this
You didn't miss much.
Well, right, sure, but what was this aspect of this animal really depicted on that show? Because I'm feeling it was. Okay.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, there was I remember specifically there being a lot of outcry because one of the popular Meerkats, who was like this guy who, kept picking fights, and he was like one of those like really good, rootin' tootin' like great meerkat fighters. Like just vanished and nobody knew what happened to him. And they were like, how did you lose track of this meerkat? Like, what do you mean you don't know if he recovered from his injuries and if he survived? Like, what is happening?
Yeah. Yeah. No, they definitely like whatever happened because all of them had names. All of them had they had like radio collars on some of them. So if they died, they died. I remember seeing behind the scenes that it was part of some kind of study too, and that's why maybe the film crews didn't capture, like they didn't know the narration that would go on top of it when they were conducting this research, and so they were like, sorry, we didn't know that Diego was going to be a fan favorite and that you guys would be really upset if we just forgot to keep track of him specifically. Yeah.
Oh,
fair.
Wow.
That was something else that I thought was fascinating was I watched a lot of like little mini videos and like documentaries and stuff, and people are just like in the mobs, like they're just like crouched on the ground running alongside these meerkats when they're filming them. I don't know, like I always picture like a big telephoto lens and they're like really hands off, right? But they're like in it, like I don't know, I never thought about it, I guess. But yeah,
not fazed by human activity.
Yeah, some of them. That was, I will say, so the study that I mentioned earlier, I guess the study that we're in right now, they did cut some of the interactions and they only looked at habituated meerkats that were habituated to humans.
Oh, okay.
And they cut out the ones that were not habituated because they were worried about their presence changing, like their aggression and stuff like that.
Makes a lot of sense. That's cool.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Because I think overall they had much more interactions that they could have looked at, but they cut out quite a few. So, but yeah.
Fascinating stuff.
Yeah. I hinted at this earlier that meerkats don't just attack, meerkats that aren't related to them. They will attack their own family members. This is especially common when it is two meerkats that are trying to have a litter at the same time.
Within the same family?
Yeah.
That was also in Meerkat Manor a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, how dare this other meerkat have pups at the same time as Queen Meerkat?
Yeah.
Like, we're just holding our breath until she murders all the puppies.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty intense. Okay. There's a 2006 article that I found. I'll just quote it because it's easier than trying to pull it apart. In meerkat societies, pregnant dominants are known to kill subordinate litters, but we show that pregnant subordinates also kill pups, not only those of other subordinates, but the dominants as well. Litters born to females of any rank were half as likely to survive their first 4 days if a subordinate was pregnant. However, dominant females were more likely than subordinates to give birth when no other females were pregnant, and then therefore they lost less litters to infanticide. So the dominant female was very careful in her planning. It would, keep other females in line when she had a pregnancy, but the subordinates aren't able to do that as much. So they were half as likely to be able to raise their pups successfully if there was another pregnant female.
Dang.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I have nothing else to offer. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were so well versed in Meerkat Manor.
I lived for Meerkat Manor when I was a child. It was all of the drama of the animal world that I needed in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was very into the show.
I love that for you.
Thank you.
It's good for you. Yeah. It's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was pretty good. I will say I wasn't like super into it, but I did definitely watch a lot of it. So I think I would just have it like on in the background while I like played with Pokemon or something. But
yeah, it does feel like a kind of a background type show. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It was like the Animal Planet version of a soap opera. It was perfect. You were waiting at the edge of your seat to see what would happen next week. It was dramatic.
Okay.
You guys disgust me.
If you say so. All right.
I'm so sorry. As we're kind of like wrapping up a little bit, so if you have any questions, feel free to stop me.
No.
Oh, okay. Something when I was in my here's a scientific website, let's just type in meerkats. A random fun factoid that I found was that there is such a thing as too big of a mob. So large mob sizes increase the likelihood of meerkats choosing not to care for the pups.
Oh.
So they would choose to be lazy. And they would just be like, someone else will take care of it probably. Mm-hmm. And it also increased the likelihood of like one meerkat taking care of the pups. So there was an inequality in the division of labor. And so that one meerkat would be responsible for all the pups. So whether or not it was a good caretaker, he would just end up being responsible for them. So it was the pup survival rate plummeted when mob size would hit a certain size. So yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
And what size are we talking about?
Really more like an average size is about 20.
Okay.
30 is pushing it. And then once you get past that is when pup survival rate goes down. So
30. Okay. That doesn't seem like that large of a group, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know why, but yeah.
I feel like there's some parallels you can draw here of, when you just get too big and you assume somebody else is going to take care of everything else, and then some poor schmuck gets stuck doing all the work that nobody else is picking up the slack on.
That's right.
It's like, that's not how you run a business or a mob.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Pay your workers. All right.
Don't let your babies die.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, but that's also probably a good survival thing. If they can't maintain, it's that probably exists in nature for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you're a meerkat, feel free to let your babies die, I guess. Or maybe the kind thing to do would just be to go ahead and murder them.
Oh.
Sounds like they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quick and painless.
Well,
wait, I thought they were just starving to death.
Oh no, they're killing them.
Yeah.
Well, in
so when
this
you're
study,
saying they're not taking care of them, what you mean is that they're not just neglecting them, but they're outright killing them.
In this study,
that's
no.
misleading.
In this study, no.
Okay.
In this study, no. They're just not being fed, or no. Sorry.
Okay.
Apologies.
So that is neglect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is they should probably just murder them if they're going to die anyway. At least then it would be quick.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like the humane thing to do, I guess. Yeah.
If there's any meerkats listening, just take my advice to heart. That's
Doesn't sound like they need to be persuaded to murder their own species. So, but good call, Rachel. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of regrets of things I've said in this episode.
Would you like to edit it? Because that's usually when we get to a point where I'm like, I'll edit this one. It's because I've said too many things I regret.
I think you've been wonderful.
You have been a real delight.
Thank you.
Let's squeeze in a few more dubious facts before the end then.
Okay, well, you better be quick because we're pretty much there.
The full name of the meerkat is...
The full name of the meerkat?
Yeah, it's not just meerkat. It's the striped butt meerkat.
Oh.
The striped butt meerkat. Oh my gosh, just
amazing.
Like on our podcast icon. Yep.
The striped butt.
You can see striped butt meerkat on the bottom right there. Yep. Staring down its nemesis, the prairie dog.
That's really its colloquial name, though. The actual scientific name is the striped rumped.
Yeah. But would not be appropriate.
They don't really say butt very often in science.
Yeah. Meerkatters call them the striped butts.
Stripe butts.
All right, great stuff.
Stripe butt mob.
Please, let's fantastic.
Fantastic. It's going to be a TikTok.
Nonsense.
100%. Yeah. The only other thing that I had was, I kind of mentioned this earlier. I got ahead of myself because I got too excited. young males will wander around and look for mates to increase their success rate of raising pups. Because if you're a really low male in the totem pole, the likelihood of you getting all the way to the top without like everyone in front of you dying first is just very low.
Yeah.
So they will wander around, and one paper estimated about 25% of all meerkats are born from these social visits and account for about 70% of a subordinate male's offspring. So he's doing this quite frequently. And most of his pups come from these just kind of wandering around hoping to, entice a lady over visits.
Okay, sure. A little promiscuity.
Yeah.
Playing the field a bit.
I remember this, the dramatic romp in the dirt when a couple of meerkats meet each other out in the wild. What did you call it? A social visit?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm picturing it like Victorian mobsters. Like,
Yeah.
I'm having a social visit for tea.
Yes. May I call upon you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah.
We must hide my children because Tabitha will murder them all if she finds out.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a. Ooh.
My father is a stern gentleman.
A rich.
Cut to the father.
Oh, it's
wow.
a rich tapestry with this animal.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're
love
beautiful. I love them.
Oh.
But yeah, that's meerkats, the prairie dog of Africa, but also much feistier and with a tendency for infanticide. So don't let their cute faces fool you. They love
Bridgerton
murder.
with more murder.
I would never. But they will let us just walk right up to them. Are they luring us in?
That's a big meal.
Maybe they just view us like another house guest, and
Yeah,
there's
you're
a
right.
3% chance we'll get killed.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is more than getting killed by a person.
What's the meerkat caused mortality in humans? You got a study on that?
I didn't find that study, but
Okay.
maybe I'll look into it
It's
for you.
it's probably low.
It's probably pretty low. But maybe not zero.
Yeah. I do really want to look back at that study of the 10 most violent species because that's fascinating to me.
It's so
Yeah.
cool.
And like just to see like what do they have in common? Because like there was a number of them on there were like intensely social, like Chacma baboons
Yes.
and mongoose meerkats, gray wolves.
Yeah.
But some of them weren't. Like you said, weren't brown bears on there? Like-
Bears in general.
Just bears in general.
Yeah, like
Okay.
it was. I didn't
Huh.
look at the specific species. I just noticed that bears were a hotspot for
Sure.
aggression.
But
So-
they don't live in like large social units.
No,
but they,
yeah,
No.
that's an outlier.
But I guess so. I mean, there's not a lot of things that do kill bears, and like if you think about it this way,
that's true.
and if a male comes across a female with cubs, he will try to murder them. So
Okay.
that's probably where that comes from.
Yeah,
If I had to guess.
just as a proportion of the species' total mortality.
Yes.
Because they're like apex level predator,
Yeah.
they're really only killing each other.
Yeah.
Okay, I get
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Once again, always picking on the babies, though.
I mean, a lot of times that's all I don't know a lot about bears, but I've definitely seen a lot of that.
You want to promote your own genes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Not some,
no, I
not
get
some
that.
Joe Smos.
I get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I'm just, I have a really deep-seated urge to make fun of all those dude bros who hold like nature's aggressive animals as like the pinnacle of like masculinity or whatever.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it's like they're all picking on babies, dude.
Yeah.
Like you wanna be that guy that picks on babies? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I could win
Wow.
a fight against a baby.
So strong.
Yeah. I'll fight a baby right now. All right.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Whose baby? No, not like people's names. I mean like a human baby or like
Yeah.
a mouse baby.
I could definitely win a fight against a mouse baby.
Yeah. It'd be pretty easy.
That wouldn't be fair. Nothing about that would be fair.
No.
This episode's taken several strange turns.
That's okay.
I like it. This has been interesting information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Strange Turns are just like a hallmark of Nicole episodes.
They are.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because of the two people on the other side of the table. Okay.
It's okay. I love it.
What is the conservation status of meerkats? Are they? How are they doing? A lot of the most charismatic, fauna. Not doing great. And especially there's so many, especially with like the region of the world that they live in Africa is very intensely affected or going to be intensely affected by climate change. What is the conservation status of meerkats right now? How are they doing?
I have great news. They are least concerned.
Ooh, nice. All right, let's go.
They're doing great. And I wasn't specific about where they lived, so we'll throw that in here too. Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa is primarily where they live.
Nice. In just 3 countries.
Yeah.
That's wild. I pictured them being much more widespread than that.
Yeah.
Are there more than one species of meerkat?
There is not. Just the one. Just
interesting.
Meerkat. Yeah.
Meerkat. Striped butt meerkat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Striped rumped.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So that's good.
That is good. I had a question earlier because you were talking about how they can be viewed as pest control because they eat so many insects. And it made me wonder about like the overlap of humans and meerkats in their natural range. Like, are they living primarily out in wild areas? Are they sometimes living in agricultural areas or rangeland? And like, how is the human meerkat interaction landscape like? I know, like, for example, prairie dogs come up against a lot of flack for digging holes in pastures and stuff. Like, are meerkats the same, or are they?
Especially if they're 5 meter wide holes that could swallow an entire cow. Does that create some tension with ranchers? And
I could swallow an entire cow.
I mean, good point.
Like, not even a baby, just a whole.
Just a whole cow.
I surprisingly did not come across a whole lot of like human meerkat conflict in my research. Even like we really like Animal Diversity Web, and that was where I got the they're considered pest control a lot of the times, and the negatives were nothing. Like it was like climate change and loss of habitat. Like it wasn't like, oh, people are actively trying to kill them all the time. So I don't think that there's a whole lot of human meerkat conflict. Yeah.
Okay. But maybe some overlap in the sense that they're maybe creating their manners. Wait, what's the actual word for a meerkat burrow?
I mean, a burrow?
Oh, okay. I don't know. I was like, is there an
I mean,
word?
like prairie dogs are called towns.
Yeah,
that's legit. Yeah.
Are they setting them up in like agricultural fields or adjacent or like by parking lots or
Yeah, I think they're a little bit more wild than prairie dogs because prairie dogs they're in the middle of Hutchinson, Kansas. Like they just kind of do whatever and take whatever space you give them. But I think meerkats, because they need such a large, they have, even though it's only 20, 30 individuals in a group, they need a lot of food and they need a very large home range. So I think the fact that they need so much space means that they just don't interact with humans that often. So, yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah.
Good for them.
I'm
glad they have the space to be doing that and also be of least concern.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, some of those, like Namibia is not terribly densely populated. There's a lot of like open range and like, open desert kind of areas in Namibia.
And they're only in like the northern part of South Africa, because southern South Africa is quite densely populated, but not the northern part as much.
I see.
So
yeah, so you've got So they're really in like a very arid section there.
Yeah. And like I said, and they do like straight up use desert environments. Like most of their habitat is part of the Kalahari Desert, but a lot of the Kalahari Desert is very much grassland.
Sure.
So yeah,
there's a lot of deserts that are a lot of grassland. And it's just semi-arid, and the grass is very short. And so
right.
it all gets labeled Chihuahuan Desert or whatever.
Yeah.
Desert is a friend of grassland.
Yeah.
They're buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not completely different biomes necessarily. They are mosaic.
A lot of overlap. Yeah.
Mosaic. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Good word.
Yeah.
Any other questions for me?
I'm still thinking about cows falling into 15-meter, or not meter, Jesus, 15-foot wide holes.
Another thing to look up to see if that actually does happen.
There's no way. I mean, you couldn't be surprised by. Well, you could be. Cows are kind of dumb.
You know, they get into some weird situations. Yeah.
They're also so curious. Like, if I
true.
I can see a cow just walking into one for fun to be like, hey, what's that?
Oh gosh. I mean, they aren't like straight down holes either. There's like at an incline, so
maybe cows.
I don't think they're that
shade.
tall. They're just wide. They're not tall. Yeah.
Would you rather fight 1,000 meerkats or one purple worm?
Ooh.
Let's say you're level 10.
It's a very high con save to not get swallowed by one of those things. I'm just going to throw that out there. I've studied the stat block intensively.
Meerkats are small enough that they are puntable size, which is like my like, limit. Yeah. To like animals that I would feel confident winning in a fight against. But like 1,000 of them?
Puntable. Yeah.
I mean, there's only so many kicks you can do per second.
Yeah.
True.
I think 1,000 meerkats could take a human for sure.
Yeah, probably.
Or would they just start infighting?
Ooh, good point. They
that's
turn on
such
each
a good
other.
point. Yeah, they would kill each other for you before you ever. I mean, if they're all strangers too, like 65% of them are going to immediately just be aggressive toward each other.
Yes.
And you can punt the rest of the 45% run away.
Yeah.
Well, and in a group that large, they're also not taking care of their selves.
Their babies.
Or their babies.
Yeah. They're just, Oh, man.
So if some of those 1,000
chaos.
are babies, you're like super set. Like they're going to be so emaciated. They're not going to fight you at all.
1,000 meerkats is a grim scenario. Just the sheer devastation, the tragedy of 1,000 meerkats together is shocking.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's why nature doesn't allow it. Okay. Yeah. Way to go.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, that was a good question, turns out.
Okay,
Yeah.
Well, on that note, thank you, Nicole, for this amazing episode.
You're so welcome.
Listeners, thanks for tuning in. Find all our stuff in the description. And you know how to get a hold of us. It's also in the description. The Best Biome is produced by Grassland Groupies. That's our nonprofit. It's basically just the three of us. And we do grassland education work and a lot of other cool stuff. So, thanks for supporting us by listening to the pod. We also have merch, so we'll put a link in our description if you want to buy a shirt and support us. We have a couple designs. You can get our podcast logo. You can also get a Great Plains Wildflowers shirt designed by me. Woo!
They're very good.
They're amazing.
Yes.
So
one-of-a-kind originals. So, link in the thing. Thanks. That's it. See you in a couple weeks. Bye.
bye.
Bye.